Hi, I'm Raquelle, a truth seeker with a deep curiosity who lives to question overshared beliefs.
And I'm Kristina, an interdisciplinary artist who believes in elevating undershared stories.
And we've saved you a seat at the Bombshell Brunches table.
Join us, a community who knows they were put here for more.
We chat with awe-inspiring people who live to make the world a better place in their own way, big or small.
We've got book club and product reviews and break down which tools and tactics we're using in life to help us thrive.
And let's be honest, sometimes just survive.
We'll spill the tea, set up success stories,
and leave you bite-sized takeaways that you can use to build the world you want to see.
Today, we have the great fortune of recording from Vancouver, BC, also known as the unceded, unsurrendered territory of the Coast Salish peoples, including the Squamish, Stolo, Tsleil-Waututh, and Musqueam nations, whose presence here reaches back to time immemorial. We honor their long history of caring for the land we currently work, play, and reside on, and aim to uphold and uplift the voices and values of our host nations. A quick note on why we do land acknowledgements. Land acknowledgements have been an Indigenous tradition dating back centuries as a way to show respect for the land we are on. Additionally, it gives us an opportunity to reflect on the impacts of colonialism, reminding us to be accountable to the Indigenous peoples and to thank those who still live on and care for our land. The land. So, we're very excited. Today we are going to be reviewing the Oura Ring.
We've talked about this for so long.
Yeah,
We've been
behind the scenes.
Yes, behind the scenes. We've been wanting to test out the Oura Ring, and I will say, credit to Sienna for highlighting this.
Yes.
We are not sponsored by Oura Ring. We wish we were.
Please, if you would like to just spontaneously sponsor us,
right?
We are here for the taking.
It's a little bit late because we already have our Oura Rings. However, just want to be really clear about that. This is not a sale. We are reviewing the Oura Ring, and when we first started talking about why this was so important to us, I think we just had a really quick. We quickly just synced into we want something that's easy to wear. We want something that is going to give us different metrics,
stylish,
and then it just came up everywhere, didn't it? Like everyone that we spoke to was like, I want to try the Oura Ring. I want to try it, or I have it.
For me, the biggest thing that made me really interested in the Oura Ring was not having notifications, because it drives me nuts. Like I do have an Apple Watch, but having it buzz on my arm, for me, when I sit down with someone, I don't want their attention elsewhere. I really want it focused on me and the conversation.
How do we get along? I'm everywhere else.
You are. You are. But yeah, so it really frustrated me, and I don't want to present to other people my attention's not on them. You know, when I'm having conversations with them, but when something's physically buzzing on your body, it is very hard not to look down.
Totally. Well, I think that was what we wanted to do today for all of you listening, was to, because I think this is one of those wearables that is still relatively new. There's still a lot of features coming out. There's Whoop. There are a couple of other ones that are not as what's the word? What did you say that don't have as many notifications?
What is Whoop?
Whoop is another one that I can't remember where it goes, but it's you'll have to look it up. We'll have to put it in the notes.
It's a wearable.
It's a wearable as well. So today, for the purposes of this little podcast, this little conversation, I really wanted to give people a bit of an insight from our perspectives on this ring. And if you were thinking about getting one, maybe this will add some flavor to your teapot of the different mix of opinions that you might be getting about the Oura Ring.
Yes. Do we want to start with the features we've tried?
Yeah. Oh no. Why don't we start with why we wanted it? Because your reasons are different to mine.
Okay, go for it.
Okay. For those of you who are either have odd periods or have a kind of hormonal cycle that's puts you a bit up and down, I was really interested for that purpose. And I was also interested in the sleep features because I do not like sleeping with something on my wrist.
Yes, I found the same.
Yeah, and I was worried about the ring being also something because I wear very little to no jewelry. The other thing is it syncs with natural cycles. So if you're trying to get pregnant or not trying to get pregnant,
Or trying not to get pregnant.
yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, or try not to. It actually the natural cycles, also we're not sponsored by, syncs very well with Oura Ring and is, I think, one of the only FDA approved.
I believe it's the only
contraceptive. Like it's a medical.
Yeah.
How do I
So it's a non-hormonal
medically approved birth
control. Yes. That is FDA approved, and I believe it is the only one that is FDA approved. So that was really cool to me too.
That was new.
Your main reasons?
I'd say those were my main reasons, as well as monitoring my fitness. And I actually had some misconceptions about how I would be able to monitor my fitness with the Oura Ring.
Oh.
I had some expected features that I did not look into enough.
Oh, I'm actually intrigued to hear about that.
Okay, you go.
Yeah, so for me, I think, like I said, I've used wearables for years now, but I was really frustrated with the notifications, so that was a big one for me. I was the same way with wearing something on my wrist. I would take it off in the middle of the night because I couldn't sleep. So I was really intrigued, and I do have my wedding band on, so I knew a ring would be fine. It's very accurate, so I would say it's more accurate in my experience and from the research I've done than the Apple Watch. So that was another big thing. And then, just that piece that was like very unobtrusive. Like I wanted to have those metrics, but I didn't want them to run my life. I wanted to be able to look at them and make a decision on what I wanted to do. I can also run very fast, very hard. So especially if I think of workouts, for example, I'll get into a routine or I'll start a new program and I have like no woe. I just follow the program and I'll charge through. The really interesting thing about the Oura Ring is I felt like it wasn't the way everything is worded in the app. It gives you a lot of perspective about where your body's at and really encourages you to take, a slow down day if you need it. Instead of just being like, you haven't done your steps, you haven't done your whatever 40,000 steps that you were supposed to do. So, did you stand up 6 times? Like turn around 3 times. Like I just felt that was too aggressive for me. I'm already kind of a intense person, so I almost needed the like slow down. So I thought that was very, very interesting about the Oura Ring. Yeah,
I remember when we did the podcast with Dr. Ashley Margison, and we had a hormone doctor come on and talk about how fluid really a lot of women's bodies are.
Yeah.
Literally. And so with the Oura Ring, I think they're aggregating more data that helps to inform a suggestion. I will say that I had a lot of people as I was canvassing people and saying, what do you think? Do you want one? Do you not want one? A lot of people were like, I really want one because I feel like it would give me good data, but I don't want one because I feel like I'll obsess over that data. And I was like, that's a really good point. And I wondered whether I was going to do the same thing.
I wondered whether you were too.
Yeah, I do. I do have that personality type. But interestingly, what I realized, there's a great book that I'll also recommend called Intuitive Eating.
Okay.
And I narrated it, which is not why I'm recommending it. I'm recommending it because I really enjoyed it.
Not sponsored.
Not sponsored. Everything in this podcast is not sponsored, which is another way of saying if you would like to sponsor us, like Tofu Bot. But what my point is, intuitive eating reminded me that we are in a society where we are listening to just pure metrics that are not listening to us deeply, and we're not listening to ourselves as deeply as we can. So sometimes my sleep data would be, because it's quite robust, the sleep data, it's like what's your REM, what's your sleep latency, like how long does it take for you to fall asleep? What's your deep sleep, light sleep, all that sort of stuff. I realized that some days it said, you're doing great. And I was really not doing great at all. And my sleep did not feel good. And so I think understanding how you operate next to how the machine is telling you you're operating and finding a happy medium is important.
I actually think that's a great point. And I had a couple of those too. I remember saying to my husband when I first started, I was like, this thing thinks I slept so well. And it says that I should do all of these calories in my active workout today. And I really feel so exhausted. Like, what is it talking about? But I will say then once I did start pushing, I did feel really good. And I think actually I'll save this for when we go through the features. But one of the things that the Oura Ring does do is it takes into account your heart rate and your resting heart rate and your variable heart rate. And that's a really important piece to starting to try to incorporate more than just, steps and more than just, your sleep alone. But
it's relativity. It gives you your relativity.
So I think in their app, they call it like your resilience. So you almost want to look more at your resilience number rather than your sleep number, because it could say you slept really well based on length of time, but then they'll look at your heart rate and they'll bring that into a number. I don't know how they mathematically find this number, but that'll cover your resilience. So I've had, I got sick and it was like, oh, your resilience has gone down over the last few days. I was like, oh, that's really interesting that it's noticing that.
Yeah, actually, that's a good segue. Let's dive into the features. We've got the phone here.
Yes.
As for those of you who are watching on the visual podcast, we're both wearing an Oura Ring. You can get them in different colors. And on the inside, it's like a little bit of a Total Recall biometric thing that lights up. And this is also...
Red or green.
Yeah, red or green.
Yeah.
When you're sleeping or, I guess, I don't know, moving.
I think one is like heart rate and one's blood oxygen or something. Okay. I don't know, something like that.
So features are another thing that I love about it is the battery life.
It's pretty substantial.
It's like 3 or 4 days for me. And if you do you activate the push notifications, which I highly recommend with the Oura Ring.
And they're not overwhelming.
They're not overwhelming. Then it'll tell you need to, to sync a battery. So at the very top of it in the home page, you've got your activity, don't you?
Well, they give you a couple like reading things you can read about, like heart health or whatever, and they have a little blog. And then, so actually, I don't know if you signed up for this, but there's also extra features that you can sign up for if you want to. I did because I knew we were going to do this podcast too. So I really wanted to try everything when we started. One is experiments. So at the top of mine, I have experiments. Yeah. And so you can decide like, this one was introducing experiments, reduce caffeine. So then you can see how's caffeine affecting my data. I am absolutely categorically not going to reduce caffeine. So that a notification just sits there.
So what happened? Okay. Yeah. I didn't realize they're extra signups.
Yes. And then you're right. Then it goes to the activity goal. It will do daytime stress starting 2 hours after.
I'm gonna move this.
Thank you.
You have a tag. It's a visual podcast.
It is.
Can't have a
it
tag.
is. Thank you. So daytime stress starts 2 hours after you wake up. You've got your heart rate, and so that'll be either your normal daytime fluctuations, but they'll also have like a resting heart rate and a variable heart rate.
And you can from there get your heart rate. I think when you click on it, it says measuring heart rate, hold still, which I find is a useful feature. Yeah.
It's like you're at the doctor's office.
I know.
And then you have your readiness score. So that's kind of what you were, speaking about earlier. It's going to look at various different metrics and tell you whether it believes that you are ready to go or not. But again, personally...
Yeah, yours is going strong. Looks like something affected your sleep quality last night. Don't worry.
Sure as heck did.
He's
15 months and his name is Ryder.
But then it says, try to avoid try to avoid late afternoon naps so that you're ready for a good night of sleep tonight.
Yeah, because it can tell I didn't sleep very well last night.
Right,
so
but it's
saying,
just,
like,
that's a
maybe you'll nap.
specific instruction too. Like,
Yeah.
I'm
not a
I
big
feel
napper.
like I love naps so much.
Well, and I've noticed it's interesting. Actually, I'll finish the features, because the next one is the Oura Advisor, which is what I was just going to speak about. So sometimes the Advisor, this is another one that you have to turn on. It is a beta one, and it's an AI advisor. It is hilariously good.
Is it?
It is incredible. And I specifically asked it like really complex questions so that we could talk about it on the podcast.
Okay.
So we'll dig into that later. But the Oura Advisor will sometimes ask me how things are going. Like if I didn't have good sleep, it'll ask me like what caused that. They also have tags so that over time you can say, for me with a kid, I would say 99 out of 100 times it's the kid that's causing me to not have sleep, because I'm a pretty good sleeper. But if you didn't, it might be that you had caffeine too late in the day, or that you had stress going on at work. And so when, or maybe you're at a certain time of your cycle and you tend to not be able to sleep that well at that time. Mm-hmm. So, you can tag these pieces at that point.
I will say too that 2 weeks of data as just a general rule is what you really want before you start getting to note.
Yeah, exactly. And then they go into sleep.
Oh, I don't even want to look at mine right now.
Which includes your beats per minute, your heart rate. Mm-hmm. And then they do body clock. I think we had to do quite a bit before we got.
Why do you have that? I didn't have this. Well, you really set
this is my chronotype.
What is my chronotype?
I don't know what your chronotype is.
Why do you get a chronotype?
Well,
option?
I'm a morning person, so that's basically what it's telling me. So I do best when I wake up early in the morning, and so it wants the middle of my sleep to be around the same area at all times.
Why don't I have that in mine?
I don't know.
What's your version of your app?
Did you have to turn yours on? Maybe this was another feature I turned on.
I don't know. I'm on the basic version. I'm always on the basic version.
And then it just gives you some other, odds and ends. So you can explore breathing exercises. They've got their little, I have a symptom radar. Did you enable that?
What? Where are you getting these from?
It's all in the menu. So there's like extra things you can add in.
What menu? Okay, hang on.
I mean, I did my research.
I thought I did. I was sitting here going, right, great. This is lots of things. What have I got? I've got all these things. Okay, so along the bottom of the app, it's like home readiness, sleep.
And then experiments.
What's rest mode?
Like if you're sick or something, then or you like broke your leg, then you can put rest mode.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I see. Okay.
Jet lag.
This is like so much.
No, it's so easy. I just set it up and it does its own thing.
I always look at my ideal bedtime and cry.
I was going to say, and then don't do it.
I don't do it.
You were up till like 2 or 3 in the morning last night.
My ideal bedtime is 9:30 to 10:45.
Okay, hold on. Tell me your favorite, because I feel like I could go on for days, but tell me your favorite features. Because we've just listed them all.
Okay.
But tell me what you've been finding. Like, what are you finding you're gravitating towards the most?
Yeah, my favorite features are the activity feature. Because now that I'm back to doing the grouse grind, which is a mountain climb, it's basically like a nature's stairmaster. It will tell me post-workout what my high intensity, medium intensity, and low intensity, and I really enjoy heart rate based training. What the feature that I thought I would get that hasn't quite kind of shown up for me is I wanted that in real time, because I want to be able to say I want that some kind of notification that says you're halfway up a mountain, you're at 130 to 150 right now, you're in fat burn mode, which I think the Apple Watch does. I don't know.
I've never used it that like detailed.
I just think heart rate zones are so important for training, and I think as I get older, weights and heart rate zones are really of most interest to me. So that's one of my favorite features, and then honestly the sleep, actually, because not just to say how many hours was I in bed, because that's really what the only way I could track my sleep before is how many physical hours am I sitting in bed or lying in bed. But now I can actually see, okay, the difference between 7 hours and 7 hours and 45 minutes is the difference between me being able to hold different conversations, make way more decisions.
Yeah.
And it's blown my mind because you just think, oh, well, an hour is not going to do that big a difference.
Yeah.
There's we can do a whole other podcast on sleep hygiene, but it's really taught me to defend that extra 45 minutes.
Defending, I think that's actually such a good point, because even last night, remember I told you we were like burning the midnight oil and trying to get some things out the door, and I was like, okay, I need to go to bed now because I know I need to be functional tomorrow. And same with John was like asking me 3,000 questions. I'm like, there is a morning coming just a few hours from now. I will answer your questions in the morning. I need to go to bed now.
There is a morning imminent. I will answer
you don't
need
time. It now to handle tomorrow. Like, in a perfect world, I would have answered the questions, but just being able to protect that space of like knowledge about how your sleep affects how you can show up.
Yeah.
And even the trends, right? Because like I know right now, Kristina's going really hard right now.
Potato season.
It's potato season, back to that. And for me, like all of my metrics are like, okay, you have stresses, you have peaks and valleys, but I'm really good at bringing it back down, because right now I'm in a season where I can kind of carton myself off a little bit. I can disappear for a few hours.
You can shape and flex your time a bit more.
I can, or
Just
I can go to bed a little bit earlier or whatever. So I've noticed like I'm able to kind of recalibrate a lot better. But as soon as I hit 2-3 days in a row of not getting enough sleep or having high stress or being sick, then all of a sudden, not only is it showing me my metrics for my resilience is down, but I can feel how that has gone down.
I think we can get to that decision faster with the ring, I would say. And also, again, like ultimately in an unobtrusive way. Yeah. I think as we're getting more into the world of having so many options for wearables, so many options for metrics, so many options to track, I think that's something that I'm really interested in, is how that affects us psychologically. And how we learn to interact. And, this is always this huge conversation about AI right now, and how we interact with machinery and technology we really need to, I feel like I enjoy having agency, and also autonomy. If I'm fully reliant on something to dictate to me what I should be doing, eating, when I should be sleeping, I don't trust it.
And not just AI, right? But also if you think about marketing, social media, like going down the rabbit hole, having scrolling, just even noise everywhere all the time. It's a lot.
We have to choose our noise now.
I think that's exactly it. Like you need to curate what you're allowing in.
Agreed. And I think for me, the Oura Ring has been enough, but like I said, I've just discovered some things that I could use if I want to. But I feel like I do think that the interface is still a little bit less intuitive than I would like.
A little clunkier.
I would love to be able to type in something saying, here are these are the most important things to me right now. Here's what I'd love.
Is that what you would like?
Yeah.
Because I have that feature.
Okay, great. But I thought I put that in and it still has limitations, right? Like I still can't really get my heart rate range.
Okay.
I could be
Hold
wrong.
up here. Let's just
maybe it's already out.
We're gonna go head over now to the Oura Advisor. Paging AI. Da-da-da-da. Okay. So the Oura Advisor, I was really hoping...
It says, hey, what's on your mind?
Older messages in our memories. I want to go back to our memories.
The user caught a cold from their son. The user has a son.
The user has a son. I do. The user's workouts include full body routines and plyometrics and challenging body weight exercises for stability and mobility.
Oh, and they're calling them memories. That kind of creeps me out a little bit.
I've had a few people say it creeps them out. Jean was like, there's no
Those
way.
are my memories.
He's like, I don't want that.
No.
Okay, so I guess I can't like bring up these. No, it just asks me if I want to delete them. So basically what it's done, what the Oura Advisor has done, is it has saved a whole bunch of data that I've given it. And it just the high level data. And so what it does so well, and it really, really does, and I've tried to stump it, like I asked it a lot of questions that were very complex. So I would tell it, for example, it starts to ask you like, what's your activity like? What's your routines? You know, so I would tell it, what are your goals? So I would tell it, you know, I told it I'm working on increasing my athleticism. I'm doing full body workouts. I'm doing weight training, plyometrics, sprint training, etc., mobility. I'll tell it where I'm finding those. So I said I use the Nike app. I'm doing intermediate to advanced workouts on the app, which, by the way, not sponsored, but it's a great app. It's free.
Is it Nike Training Club?
It is.
Oh, I love that
But
app.
I just, like, if you're an avid worker-outer,
Yeah.
don't even do the basic ones because you're just going to be like, this isn't good for me. But if you find the intermediate and the advanced programs are very challenging, and they're fantastic, fantastic programs, truly. Highly recommend them. They're great. But yeah, so I did that. And then I talked about, and, you know, asked me about my nutrition and did I need help with anything? And I was like, yeah, you know, you could give me some ideas for nutrition because I want to fuel myself and I want to build muscle, but I'm also trying to lean out after having the baby. You know, I also have a husband who is building a ton of muscle and he's extremely active. And then I have a 15-month-old, so I need food that's good for the baby too. It literally took all of that data and spewed out. And I was like, yeah, you can give me like a couple weeks worth of recipes. And it gave me recipes and snack ideas for all of that.
Yeah.
So you can get quite complex with it. Like,
is it ChatGPT? Like, what's
I think it's their own internal Oura Advisor. It's not ChatGPT
Interesting.
because ChatGPT would then open to, like, that's an open source. So that would be
Yeah.
a bit of a data breach.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know exactly what machine is kind of using that, but I do know that it is an internal one. So
Right.
you don't have to worry about that. But yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing what it does. I was very, very impressed. You know, I've been in the fitness industry since I was like 19, teaching kickboxing and yoga and all sorts of things. And so I have a pretty keen eye for fitness information and nutrition information. And the stuff it was spewing out was very good. It was very good. It was able to handle some complex questions that certain trainers I know could barely answer.
We're shifting the way we move in the world, right?
Yeah.
And with what tools?
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, really, that's our Oura Ring
Wait,
review.
one more
What
thing.
else is there?
There's one more thing.
What is it?
Okay, so this is a little bit about the conjoining with natural cycles. One thing that was a really, really big deal for me and really made me excited to try natural cycles, other than the fact that it's a non-hormonal birth control, which is huge. We can talk about that in another episode, was the fact that natural cycles is using that data. If you wish, you obviously have to opt in for it, to conduct research on women's women's health, specifically around perimenopause and menopause, because we know, and we've talked about this with Ashley Margeson as well, and with Kemi Adisa, or Miriam Adisa, we know that there is not nearly as much research for women in health And so things like this are giving us huge amounts of data that's very easy for them to grasp at. And then the research is being done by universities. So it's going to be very, very protected research. You can decide how much you want to share or not share. But sharing this data doesn't put a face on you, but it does give us knowledge and trends for women all over the world, and allows us to start to understand what makes our bodies unique, what makes them tick, and then, over time, what can actually help us. So I think this is really, really, really incredible. And it really feels, honestly, like a big social impact move by just opting in using an app.
I had a moment of, do I want to share my data? And I think there's such a stigma around sharing data, and I think quite rightly. But for this, I felt exactly, I went down the same process. We didn't even have a conversation about it, but I went down the same process where I was like, no, this is really important. And I think they're pretty clear about it being like, this is anonymous, unless you want it otherwise, I think, or something like that. But yeah, that's a very good point. It's a good point.
So that's the Oura Ring. I mean, for me, 10 out of 10. I guess final wrap up is I got gold. I got the Horizon. I will say it does scratch, especially if you're doing weightlifting.
I have to take mine off.
I don't take
that
mine
is
off.
I'm very afraid of holding the weight.
Oh, I am going to get gloves to cover the ring.
Yeah.
You can get like a little silicone wrap if you want, but I'm not that precious with it. But just so you know, they do scratch over time, but I don't feel like I don't think it looks bad. So
they're a little bit thicker than your average ring.
Yeah.
I've got the rose gold, which is the most expensive.
Just so you know.
Just because I
needed
rose gold.
And I had the normal gold.
Yeah.
I did get a size too big.
That's the other thing too.
Like,
and you can actually try them, like Best Buy. I think there are a bunch of places you can actually try the sizing first. But I will also say that for those people who are, my initial thought was I'm just going to get the black one. But the reality is you look at it every day.
Yes.
You look at it every day.
Yes.
So if you are thinking about getting this ring, really get the ring that suits your fingers. And unfortunately, if you have expensive...
outfits.
And outfits. If you have expensive taste, then just go with it.
Yeah, just get the one you want.
Yeah, you are looking at it every single day. All right. Well, thanks, friends.
So wait, would you recommend?
I would. That's
so
I would. I always find it hard to recommend anything, but I would say it did what I wanted, and I feel like I'm better off for it. I think what I would recommend is for people to check out the features. There's so many reviews on these rings now that you can find, but really I would suggest that people ask themselves, what am I getting this for? And do I feel like it is going to assist, or is it going to perpetuate my anxiety? Because that was my biggest fear, was that I was going to look at it too much and be looking at it every day.
Yeah.
And I do look every day, but I look and leave, and I'm kind of aggregating my own data in my own mind at the same time. And I think that's important to remember. So,
I think so too. And I think what I've realized with this app, because I knew I wasn't worried about that for myself, but I did have that in the back of my mind for other people. And the thing that I've noticed is that it really only updates you once or twice a day, which is really nice. Whereas I've had other wearables where they're constantly updating you, and I found that really nerve-wracking or annoying or frustrating. It made me just want to like block it out. So I think that is really helpful, that you can look at the data once a day or twice a day, but that you're not perpetually getting, notified throughout. So
agreed.
I would also 10 out of 10. I would 10 out of 10 recommend, if you're interested in knowing more about what's going on in your system, if you want to see how you're handling stress in your life, if you're in a particularly stressful time. I thought that was one of the coolest features. If you want to know how you're handling the resilience of stress, I thought that was also something that was really important. So it's one thing to get stressed, but can you bring those levels back down? And sleep, I thought that was great. I think there's other trackers that maybe are better if you're only looking at fitness, or that are similar if you're only looking at fitness. But overall, yeah, I would definitely recommend.
Thanks for showing up, Bombshells. We'd like to thank our brilliant media and production team for their incredible work on each episode. We look so shiny because of them. As for you, my darlings, head to our website bombshellbrunches.com to sign up to the mailing list for future events and deals, connect with us on socials, dig into resources, and leave us little love notes. Until next time, stay focused, fierce, and fabulous.